I want to show you how you could attach a wing and the way I'd go about doing something like a wing on an animal, something that's going to stick out. So let's say if I wanted a wing here, first of all what I would do is I would get a bit of scrap paper, newspaper is absolutely fine, and I would draw out the wing shape that I wanted. So trying to get the right size, and this means that if I've got, what I'm doing is I'm doing a template, and when I do a template for the wing, it means that once I make it, I can put it onto a slab of clay and I can trace around it, and it means that both my wings are going to be the same size. So I've cut out my wing. I'm going to check it on my animal and go, oh yeah, I think that's a pretty good size. I'm pretty happy with that size. So then I would go to a slab of clay. A slab of clay is simply a flat bit of clay, and I would trace around it with a pin tool. I don't have a pin tool at home, so I'm just going to have to use this. Now, the clay for this doesn't need to be too thick, okay? You don't want it too thick. So popping it on top, tracing around it. If I had more clay, because I'm at home I don't have that much clay, if I had more clay I'd make sure that it was fit the whole way. So there's my template, pull it off, keep this because I'm going to use that to do the next wing, okay, so that they're both the same size. Now when I attach this on, of course I've got to score, slip and smooth both sides, but I can do it in such a way, like I can create movement, so it doesn't have to sit flat like this. I can move it so it might sit out a little bit, like it joins in two spots. So I could join it here, and I could join it here, and I could flip it up at the edges. Okay, so I get some kind of movement into my animal. Now what also might be a good idea is that you put texture in it beforehand. So let's say I wanted a texture of feathers. I could do that by getting a wooden tool and look at the shape on the end. I'm going to use a pointy one this time, and I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to do rows, and I'm pressing in between each row each time. Being quite controlled about what I'm doing. You can see that I'm pressing in between each row. I'm trying to alternate. Because you want your hybrid creature, remember we talked about in the criteria, you need to have texture in your hybrid creature. Okay, so now I've got wonderful texture, and I've popped that on before I join it on. So now I could join it on like this. So once again, I would grab my fork, I would score where it's going to sit, I would score where it's going to sit on this side as well, joining it, slipping it, and then smoothing this part in through here, okay, to making sure that that join is properly. Scoring and slipping is only two of it. You need to actually do that smoothing at the end, okay, so you'd need to get your finger or a tool, and you would need to actually draw that clay down. See if I can show that there. See how it's drawn into that. Don't catch any air bubbles, because we know air bubbles are the enemy. Okay, so think about texture, think about movement, use templates to make sure that things are the same size on both sides.